I sold my engagement ring to pay for her apartment deposit. 3 days later, her landlord called me. "Miss Cooper, you need to come to this address right now. Your sister's been evicted, and what I found in the apartment, you're going to want to see this." I've already called the police. I stared at my phone, my hands shaking. Ashley evicted? That was impossible. I'd just paid 6 months up front. The money from David's grandmother's ring, the ring I was supposed to wear at our wedding next month, was supposed to keep her safe while she got back on her feet. That's what she'd promised when she showed up at my door crying 3 weeks ago. But here I was, sitting in my car outside a run-down apartment complex in the worst part of Dallas, watching police cars pull up. Let me back up. I need to explain how I got here. My name is Sarah Cooper. I'm 35 years old, and I've been taking care of my younger sister Ashley since I was 21. Our parents died in a car accident when I was finishing college, and she was only 17. Mom and Dad didn't have life insurance. They didn't have savings. What they had was debt and a mortgage we couldn't afford. I was 3 months from graduating with my accounting degree. I had a job offer in Chicago, an apartment picked out with my college roommate, plans to start my real life. But Ashley was still in high school. She needed stability. She needed someone, so I did what any big sister would do. I turned down Chicago. I got a job at a local firm in Dallas. I sold our parents' house and moved us into a small 2-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood. I made sure Ashley could finish high school at the same school, keep her friends, maintain some normalcy after losing everything. "You're the best, Sarah," she'd said back then, hugging me tight. "I promise I'll make you proud. I promise I'll make this worth it." I believed her. For the first year, things were okay. Ashley was grieving, struggling with her grades, but that was normal. I worked long hours at the firm, came home exhausted, helped her with homework, made sure she ate. I put my own grief in a box and locked it away because one of us had to be strong. Then came the college years. Ashley wanted to go to UT Austin. Out-of-state tuition we couldn't afford, but she'd always dreamed of it. I co-signed her student loans. I sent her money every month for food, books, emergencies. I worked overtime. I took on extra clients. I canceled the vacation David and I had planned for our 5th anniversary. "I really need it, Sarah," she'd say on the phone. "Everyone else's parents help them. You're all I have." She was right. I was all she had, so I gave her everything I had. College turned into 5 years instead of 4 because Ashley changed her major 3 times. Fine. People need time to figure things out. Then graduation came and went, and Ashley moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. I didn't know how to tell her that thousands of beautiful girls move to LA every year with the same dream. I didn't want to be the person who crushed her hopes. So I supported her. I sent money for headshots, acting classes, that studio apartment in Van Nuys that cost more than my mortgage. For 3 years, I subsidized her dream. David started asking questions. Why was I always working? Why couldn't we ever save for a house? Why was every vacation canceled, every nice dinner skipped, every little luxury denied? "She's my baby sister," I told him. "She has nobody else. Once she gets her big break, she won't need my help anymore." He didn't say what we both knew. The big break wasn't coming. Then came the call 3 weeks ago. Ashley, sobbing, telling me she had to leave LA. Her roommate had kicked her out. Her boyfriend had dumped her. Her acting agent had dropped her. She was broke, desperate, and she needed to come home to Dallas. "Just until I figure things out," she promised. Maybe a month or 2. I should have said no. David begged me to say no. We were getting married in 2 months. We'd finally started saving for a house. We had plans. But when I heard her crying, when I heard that desperation in her voice, I was that 21-year-old again, standing at our parents' funeral, holding my 17-year-old sister while she sobbed into my shoulder. "Come home," I said. "I'll help you." She arrived with 3 suitcases and a story about how Hollywood was toxic and fake and how she was too real for that world. She moved into our spare bedroom, the room David and I had been slowly converting into a home office. "Just temporary," I assured David. "She'll find a job, save up, move out." Ashley found a job as a barista. Part-time, minimum wage. She complained about the early mornings, the rude customers, her manager who had it out for her. After 2 weeks, she quit. That place was toxic, she said, sprawled on our couch at 2 in the afternoon, watching reality TV. I deserve better than that. She started sleeping until noon. She left dishes in the sink. She used my expensive shampoo and borrowed my clothes without asking. When I gently suggested she needed to find another job, she looked at me like I'd slapped her. "You don't understand how hard this is for me," she said. "I gave up everything in LA. I'm starting over from nothing. I need time to heal." David pulled me aside one evening. "Sarah, this isn't healthy. She's 32 years old. She needs to take responsibility for her own life." "I know," I said. "I'll talk to her." But I didn't. Because every time I tried, she'd cry. She'd tell me I was the only person who ever loved her, who ever believed in her. She'd remind me of that day at the funeral, when I promised her I'd always be there for her. "You promised, Sarah," she'd whisper. "You promised you wouldn't leave me." So I didn't. Then came the argument about the apartment. After 6 weeks of Ashley living with us, David had had enough. We were fighting more. Our wedding planning had stalled. The spare bedroom looked like a tornado had hit it. "She needs to move out," David said. Now, before the wedding, when I told Ashley, she exploded, screaming, crying, throwing things. How could I abandon her? Didn't I care that she was struggling? Was I really going to choose a man over my own blood? "He's trying to isolate you from me," she sobbed. "He's jealous of our relationship. He wants you all to himself." That should have been my wake-up call. Instead, I found myself apologizing to her, promising I'd help her find an apartment, offering to pay the deposit. "I can't afford first and last month's rent," she said. "I don't have that kind of money." Of course she didn't. She'd spent the last 6 weeks watching TV and spending her savings on online shopping. I'd seen the packages arriving. "How much do you need?" I asked. "3,000, she said. "Maybe 4, to be safe." I didn't have 4,000 in my checking account, not after paying for her groceries, her phone bill, her car insurance for the past 6 weeks. But I had my engagement ring. David's grandmother's ring, a beautiful vintage diamond that had been in his family for 3 generations. I looked at it on my finger. David and I had been fighting so much lately. Maybe if Ashley moved out, things would get better. Maybe it was worth it. I didn't tell David what I was planning. I went to a jewelry store downtown, and I felt sick as the appraiser examined the ring. "I can give you $4,500, he said. I took the cash. I gave it all to Ashley that evening. She hugged me tight. "You're the best sister in the world, Sarah. I promise I'll pay you back. I promise this is the last time." She'd said that before, many times, but I wanted to believe her. She moved out the next day, into a 1-bedroom apartment in a complex about 20 minutes away. She promised she'd start job hunting immediately. She promised she'd get her life together. David noticed the ring was gone that evening. "Sarah." His voice was quiet, devastated. "Where's your ring?" I couldn't lie to him. When I told him, when I saw the look on his face, I knew I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross. "You sold my grandmother's ring," he said slowly, "to give money to your sister." Again. "It's the last time," I said. "I promise." "That's what you always say." He stood up, grabbed his keys. "I need some time to think." He left. I sat alone in our apartment, staring at my bare finger, wondering if I'd just destroyed my relationship to save my sister one more time. That was 3 days ago. 3 days of David staying at his brother's place. 3 days of me calling Ashley to check if she was settling in okay. 3 days of her not answering, until the landlord called. Now I was standing in front of apartment 2B, watching 2 police officers bring out boxes of evidence. The landlord, a tired-looking man in his 50s named Frank, walked over to me. "You're Sarah Cooper?" "Yes." "What happened?" "Where's Ashley?" His expression was a mix of anger and pity. "Your sister hasn't been here in 2 days." The neighbors complained about noise, fighting, people coming and going at all hours. When I came to investigate, I found the door unlocked in the apartment. He shook his head. "You should see for yourself." He led me inside. I wasn't prepared for what I saw. The apartment was destroyed. Furniture overturned, walls damaged, trash everywhere. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what was on the dining table. Scales, plastic bags, residue of white powder. "We think she was letting her boyfriend use this place to package and distribute," Frank said. "The neighbors said there were people here at all hours, loud music, parties. This wasn't someone trying to get their life together, Miss Cooper. This was a drug operation." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "Where is she?" "Nobody knows. The boyfriend, too. They both vanished 2 days ago, probably when they heard we were getting suspicious. But here's the thing." He handed me a piece of paper. "This is the lease agreement. You signed as the guarantor, which means you're legally responsible for the damages and the outstanding rent." "Outstanding rent?" "I paid 6 months up front. According to my records, I only received 1 month's deposit. $1,500. $4,500 minus $1,500. $3,000 unaccounted for." My phone buzzed, a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Thanks, sis. Jake and I are starting fresh in Vegas. Don't bother looking for us. You were always too uptight anyway. Have a nice life. Jake." The boyfriend Ashley had told me dumped her. The boyfriend who apparently never existed or never left, and who she'd just run away with using my money. I sat down on the filthy floor, surrounded by the wreckage of my sister's lies, and I laughed. It was either laugh or scream, and I was too tired to scream. A police officer approached me. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to answer some questions." I spent the next hour at the police station, explaining that no, I didn't know my sister was involved with drugs. No, I didn't know about the boyfriend. No, I had no idea where she'd gone. "You're not in trouble," the detective assured me, "but I have to ask, did you have any suspicion that something wasn't right?" Did I? Looking back, the signs were all there. The vagueness about LA, the sudden need to leave, the refusal to look for work, the expensive packages arriving at my apartment, the secretive phone calls. I'd chosen not to see it because seeing it would have meant admitting I'd wasted 14 years of my life on someone who didn't deserve it. No, I lied. I didn't know. When I finally got home that evening, David was there. He'd let himself in with his key. He was sitting on the couch, and when he saw my face, he knew. I told him everything. The eviction, the drugs, the money, the text message. I told him I'd been a fool. I told him I was sorry. He listened quietly. Then he said, "I love you, Sarah. I've loved you since college. But I can't marry someone who's going to put their sister before me, before us, before our future together." "She's gone now," I said desperately. "She's in Vegas. She's out of our lives." "Is she?" He looked at me sadly. "Because next month or next year, she's going to call you crying about how Jake left her, or how Vegas didn't work out, or how she needs help one more time, and you're going to help her. You're always going to help her." "No," I said. "Not this time. Not after this." "You say that now." He stood up. "But you said it before, Sarah. After LA. After college. After high school. You always say it's the last time, and it never is. David, please." "I need you to choose," he said quietly. "Me or her. Our future or her next crisis. Because I can't keep doing this. I can't keep watching you sacrifice everything for someone who doesn't even respect you enough to not use your money for drugs." He was right. God, he was right. But hearing it out loud, being forced to say it, felt like he was asking me to cut off my own arm. I couldn't finish the sentence. He nodded, like he'd expected that. "I'll come by tomorrow to get my things." "I'm sorry, Sarah. I really am." He left, and I was alone again, like I'd been for 14 years, sacrificing everything for a sister who'd just stolen from me and run away without a second thought. I should have cried. Instead, I felt numb, empty, like something fundamental had broken inside me and I didn't have the energy to care. My phone rang. Unknown number. My heart jumped, thinking maybe it was Ashley, calling to apologize, to explain, to, "Is this Sarah Cooper?" A woman's voice, professional, cold. "Yes? This is Detective Morrison with Las Vegas Metro PD. I'm calling about your sister, Ashley Cooper. She and her boyfriend were arrested this morning, trying to cross state lines with a substantial amount of methamphetamine. She listed you as her emergency contact. She's asking if you can wire money for bail." I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. The detective sounded confused. "Ma'am? How much?" I asked. "Bail is set at $50,000. And if I don't pay it?" Silence. "Then she'll remain in custody until her court date." Good. The word came out harder than I intended. "Don't call this number again. I'm not her emergency contact anymore. I'm not anything to her anymore." I hung up before the detective could respond. Then I did something I should have done 14 years ago. I blocked Ashley's number. I blocked her on social media. I called the landlord and told him I wouldn't be paying for the damages. He could sue me if he wanted, but I wasn't giving one more penny to clean up her mess. Then I sat down and wrote an email to David. I didn't beg. I didn't make excuses. I just told him he was right. He'd always been right. And I was sorry it took me losing everything to finally see it. I didn't know if he'd respond. I didn't know if we could fix what she'd broken between us. But I knew one thing with absolute certainty. I was done. Done sacrificing. Done enabling. Done setting myself on fire to keep someone warm who would rather watch me burn than say thank you. The next morning, I woke up and looked at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. For the first time in 14 years, I didn't see someone's caretaker, someone's safety net, someone's backup plan. I saw Sarah Cooper, 35 years old, accountant, survivor of her parents' death, her sister's addiction, her own enabling. I saw someone who deserved better. David didn't respond to my email right away. I didn't expect him to. But 3 days later, he showed up at my door. "I'm not saying yes to the wedding," he said immediately. "Not yet, but I'm willing to try couples counseling. If you're serious about this, about choosing us." "I am," I said. And I meant it. We started therapy the next week. It was hard, painful. I had to confront things about myself I'd been avoiding for over a decade. The guilt I felt about surviving when my parents didn't. The misplaced responsibility I'd taken on for Ashley's entire life. The pattern of giving and giving until there was nothing left. "You can't save people who don't want to be saved," my therapist told me. "You can only save yourself." Ashley called from jail 3 times. I didn't answer. She sent letters. I returned them unopened. Her public defender tried to contact me as a character witness. I declined. It wasn't easy. There were nights I lay awake, wondering if I was being cruel, if I should give her one more chance, if maybe this time would be different. But then I'd remember the text message. "Have a nice life. No apology, no remorse, just casual cruelty from someone who'd taken everything I had and still wanted more." 6 months later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Sarah?" It was Ashley's voice, small and defeated. I got out. I took a plea deal. Probation, community service. I'm living in a halfway house in Vegas. I waited. I didn't ask if she needed anything. I didn't offer to help. I wanted to say. She paused. "I'm sorry. For everything. I know you won't believe me. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I wanted you to know that I'm in a program now. I'm getting help, and I'm sorry." She sounded different. Genuine, maybe. Or maybe I just wanted to hear it. "I appreciate you telling me," I said carefully. "I hope you get the help you need." "Sarah, But I can't be part of your recovery," I continued. "I can't be your safety net anymore. For both of us, I need to let go." Silence. Then, quietly, "I understand. I wish you well, Ashley. I really do. But this is goodbye." I hung up. And this time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. David and I got married 6 months after that, in a small ceremony with just close friends and family. I wore a new ring, one we picked out together, one that represented our future, not someone else's past. I started saying no to other people too. To my boss when he asked me to work unpaid overtime, to friends who only called when they needed something, to anyone who treated me like I existed to make their lives easier. I started saying yes to myself, to hobbies I'd given up, to friendships I'd neglected, to dreams I'd deferred. I joined a support group for people with addicted family members. I heard stories like mine, stories worse than mine, and I realized I wasn't alone. I wasn't weak for caring. I wasn't wrong for finally choosing myself. One woman in the group, older than me, told me something that stuck. You can't pour from an empty cup, and nobody thanks you for running yourself dry. She was right. Did I still think about Ashley sometimes? Yes. Did I wonder if she was okay? Of course. But I also knew that her well-being wasn't my responsibility. It never was. My responsibility was to myself, to David, to the life we were building together, to the person I was becoming now, that I wasn't carrying the weight of someone else's choices. A year later, I heard through a mutual friend that Ashley had completed her program, that she was working at a restaurant in Vegas, staying clean, living in a sober house. I was glad, genuinely glad, but I didn't reach out. And when the friend suggested I should, that Ashley might appreciate hearing from me, I smiled and said, I hope she does well, but my chapter with her is closed. Because here's what I learned. Sometimes love means letting go. Sometimes being a good sister means refusing to enable. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is to stop saving them and let them learn to save themselves. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. I look at my life now and I barely recognize it. David and I bought a house. We're talking about starting a family. I got promoted at work. I have time for friends, for travel, for the small joys I'd forgotten existed. I'm not the person I was when I sold that ring. I'm not the girl who stood at her parents' funeral and promised to sacrifice everything. I'm someone who learned that you can't set yourself on fire to keep others warm, that you can love someone and still set boundaries. That choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish, it makes you whole. When I look at my wedding photos now, I don't see what's missing. I see what's there. A woman who finally chose herself. A man who waited for her to learn that lesson. A future built on mutual respect, not one-sided sacrifice. I see someone who survived, who learned, who rose from the ashes of who she used to be and became someone stronger. I see someone I'm proud to be. And if Ashley ever truly gets well, if she ever truly changes, I hope she finds that same peace. I hope she learns to save herself the way I finally learned to save myself. But whether she does or doesn't, I'll be okay. Because for the first time in 14 years, I'm not waiting for someone else to get better so I can be happy. I'm already happy. And that, I finally understand, is enough.